So, good morning, students. We quickly go with the continuation of the Bluebeard lesson. I think we need to start with the page number 96, the third stanza onwards. We had stopped where the poor little girl, daydreaming or being amazed, gazing at the sweet meat stall and the honey confections which were brilliant and smelled wonderful, and the poor girl was all lost seeing these sweet things which she has never tasted. And then she also enjoy watching the cloth stall, and she finds the beautiful embroidery work on the sari and the other cloth items. And you know how from since childhood Sibia was engaged in hard physical labor, such as the works which were entrusted to her, and she never had a happy childhood compared to the other children. She had the hard ways of life. She had to endure the hard ways of life. Now, there was no end to the wonders of the world. For her, every little things was something very amazing and wonder of the world. For us, if you look at the what is that? The sweet items, the cloth items, the mall. For us, these things are something very usual. But for this little girl like Sibia, everything was a wonder. It was like wonders of the world. But Sibia, in all her life from birth to death, was marked for work. Underline these lines. From birth to death was marked for work. It was told she was born to toil. Since she could toil, she had husked corn and gathered sticks and put dung to dry and cooked and weeded and carried and fetched water and cut grass for fodder. So these were the works being done by this poor little girl. Okay, since her childhood she was engaged in hard physical labor such as husking corn, gathering sticks, putting dung to dry, cooking, weeding, carrying and fetching water and cutting grass for fodder. She was going with her mother and some other women now to get paper grass from the cliffs above the river. So they have to cross the river and go to collect the paper grass. That was the earning for these poor girls. Sibia's mother and the other women of the village. They used to go across the river and collect paper grass. When you had enough of it, when you have collected sufficient, you could take it down by a bullock cart to the railhead and sell it to the agent who would arrange for its dispatch to the paper mills. The women often toiled all day at this work, and the agent sat on silk cushions smoking a hookah. So, what was the usual routine? Okay, these poor village ladies used to collect this paper grass and they used to sell it to the agent, and the agent used to simply enjoy. Okay, he used to sit on the silk cushion smoking the hookah, and these poor ladies have to collect and give these paper grass for very little income. Such and then these never disturb the mind of Sibia and her mother and the others, because for them the little earning was sufficient. They never thought much more about the agent enjoying the life of their hard work. Such thoughts did not trouble Sibia. Okay, these things never troubled Sibia. However, as she skipped along with her sickle, homemade hay fork beside her mother, she could skip on the way out, but not on the way back when you ached with tiredness and there was a great load to carry. So no thoughts of such disturbed her. Nothing of all this hard labor ever disturbed the mind of Sibia. But she could skip on the way out. She used to be daydreaming, and sometimes she used to miss the group, her mother and the other companions. Sometimes she used to get lost with some kind of thoughts. As you know, the child is only of 12 years. It's time for her to play and enjoy life. And whereas poor thing is put into hard labor. So sometimes on the way to the river across the hills, she used to sometimes miss the group, being lost in thoughts. But way back, they used to be wearied of doing the hard work, and with the tiredness and with the ached legs and hands, she never missed. And there was a great load to carry. There used to be the paper grass, a big load to carry along. So she never missed the group. Some of the women were wearing necklaces made out of lal beads, the shiny scarlet seeds, black one ant that grew everywhere in the jungle. It was best to have new necklaces each year instead of last year's faded one, and Sibia was making one too. So it is telling about the women of the village, how they used to have the necklace. So all of them had necklaces, but poor Sibia even did not have that necklace for which she was longing for. And these necklaces are made out of the seeds that is growing in the creeper plants in the jungles. And it is scarlet seeds, means it is red in color. And there were also the beads which are of black in color. So they used to put these seeds together to make necklaces for them, and every year they used to change these necklaces because after a year it gets faded. How nice it was going to be to hear that rattling swish round her neck as she flourished along with lots of necklaces. And the poor thing is cherishing the thought of having a necklace of her own. She never had one, and she is making one, and so she is cherishing the thought of having a necklace on her neck with a rattling swish around her neck, which is making a kind of noise, lively. What is that? When the beads are shaking, when they are put together, a kind of noise it produces. So she is cherishing the that experience of hearing the lively noise of rattling sound of the necklaces. As she froused meaning it is actually hurting someone's feeling here. But maybe maybe it hurts her to think that she does not have one. She is yet to have one. But each seed, hard as stone, had to be drilled with a red hot needle, and the family needle was snapped, so she must wait till they could buy another. Now she is telling how this bead has been prepared. Okay, the seeds cannot be just like that used as necklace. It need to have a hole. So these hard seeds have to be drilled with the hot red needle. The needle which is put in the fire and made it hot so that it could easily pierce the seed. Now the poor girl, why she could not continue with making her necklace? It snapped, it broke, her needle broke, and the family had to buy a needle. Until then she cannot continue with making a necklace. And you know what the price of a needle, isn't it? Not even 1 rupee in the present day. For 5 rupees you may be getting 10 to 12 pieces of needle, and the poor girl cannot afford, even the family of Sibia cannot even afford buying a needle. So you can understand from this the poverty stricken situation of this village house of Sibia. Now, oh, for strings and strings of glass and beads, anklets, earrings, nose rings, bangles, all the gorgeous dazzle of the bazaar, all her little golden body decorated. Now poor girl started daydreaming of what? Of strings of glass and beads, of necklaces, anklets, earrings, nose rings and bangles, all gorgeous dazzle. Gorgeous dazzle here referring to the beautiful and bright jewelry made of glass and beads. Now the poor girl is dreaming herself being decorated with all these, and poor little herself, okay, being decorated with all this gorgeous dazzle. Chattering as they went means Sibia, her mother, and the other women of the village. The women followed the dusty track toward the river. So they followed the dusty track towards the river. On their way, they passed a Gujar encampment of grass huts where these nomadic graziers would live for a time until their animals had perhaps finished all the easy grazing within reach, or they were not able to sell enough of their white butter and white milk in the district, or there was no one to buy the young male buffaloes for tiger bait. So it is all speaking about the Gujar women, why they are encamping in one place in the jungle. So why the reason they are making a camp there in the jungle? Because they want to graze their cattle there in the wilderness, in the forest, and once the grass gets over, there is nothing more to be grazed, and then, or else, if they are not able to sell enough of their white butter and white milk, if their business is not flourishing in that area, or there was no one to buy the young male buffaloes. So male buffaloes, they do not grow much, okay, they used to sell it for meat, and if these businesses are not being done properly, then they get away from the camp. So now here in near to Sibia's village, they have encamped for grazing the cattle and for selling the white butter and white milk. Encampment, hope you understood, it is where a group is encamped or set up for the use of a camp. Or perhaps a cattle killing tiger was making a nuisance of himself, then they would move on. Or if there are wild animals like a tiger attacking their camp, then they would move away from their encampment. Sibia glanced at the Gujar women as she went past. So poor little girl, she is amazed at everything. Everything around her is the wonders of world. So she started looking at the Gujar women. They wore trousers, tight and wrinkled at the ankles, and in their ears large silver rings made out of melted rupees, and one of them was clinking a stick against the big brass guras in which they fetched water from the river for the camp, to see which ones were empty. And now Sibia, why she is amazed at looking at them? They were different from this village group who wore only sari, and that too, you know what Sibia was wearing. It was with a rag she was covering her body. And then here she finds the Gujar women so better off, isn't it? The Gujar women were better off than Sibia, as they wore silver jewellery, while the latter, Sibia, could only dream of jewellery from glass and beads. And the Gujar women went about to river to collect water in brass pots, which poor Sibia never had. While Sibia went to collect paper grass to sell, they were carrying the brass pots to take water. And for Sibia, it was like she perceived the brass pots as a luxury item. And also, see the dress code, they wore trousers tight and wrinkled at the ankles. So it all, she was so amazed to see them differently, with all kinds of luxury. The men and boys were out of camp just now with the herd, or gone to the bazaar to sell produce, but one or two buffaloes were standing out, creatures of great wet noses and moving jaws and gaunt black bonds. See how beautifully she describes about the buffaloes, even, isn't it? Underline the descriptions given for the buffalo. Creatures of great wet noses and moving jaws. They will be always, they take their, they eat the grass, and they will be slowly chewing it later on, okay, chewing it, enjoying the food even later. So always their jaws will be moving, and gaunt black bonds. They have got a very big angular shaped back black bonds. And then she is telling she never saw the men and boys in the camp. She has seen only the women. Why? Men and women, they went to the bazaar to sell their product. What are their product? White butter and white milk. And she could see in the camp only 2 buffaloes. Others must have gone for grazing. And then she is so amazed to see all these. The Gujas were junglis. Junglis is a Hindi word, isn't it? They are of like a nomad group who moves from one place to another, who lives in the jungle, like that of like Sibia also. They are also in the wilderness. As Sibia was too, born and bred in the forest. Sibia was also born and bred in the forest. For countless centuries, their forebear means forefathers or ancestors, had lived like this, getting their living from animals, from grass and trees, as they scratched their food together and stored their substance in large herds and silver jewelry. And what is special about these people? Okay, people who live in the forest, how they lived? They lived getting their living from animals, from grass and trees. So they lived out of the animals, grass and trees, as they scratched their food together and stored their substance in large herds and silver jewelry. And what was the main possession they had? They had number of cattle and silver jewelry. This was the main possessions they had. They were man in the wandering pastoral age, not Stone Age hunters and not yet cultivators. So these groups were not of that Stone Age group or the later group like the cultivators. They were in between. They were the wandering pastoral group. Now there was the river. So we have left with the encampment of Gujar, and they have reached up to the river. Twinkling between the trees, sunlit beyond the dark trunks, they could hear it rushing along. What is it is like a personification, okay, where the river has been personified as making noise. Okay, they could hear it rushing along. The woman came out on the shore and made for the stepping stones. So they came to the shore, and now they have to keep their legs on stone to stone and cross the river. They had plenty to laugh and bicker about as they approached the river in a noisy crowd. So they were making lots of noise. They were laughing. Bicker about means they were quarreling and insulting each other, making fun of each other. They girded up their skirts as to jump from stones to stone. You have seen how they used to raise their skirts up so that it will not obstruct them from jumping one stone to the other. And they clanked their sickles and forks together over their shoulders to have ease of movement. So they have tied their fork and the sickle on their shoulders. So it was making clanked means they were these two were making noise. The fork and the sickle, when they are hitting each other, they were making noise. They shouted their quarrels above the gush of the river. So they were making noise for how the water was gushing in the river. Okay, rapid overflow of water. Gush means rapid overflow. So these women were quarreling for the gush of water in the river because it made their movements difficult because of the gush of river water. Noise frightens crocodiles. Now you know in the river we have our favorite crocodiles. So when these ladies make lots of noise, what the crocodiles get frightened and they move away. So why they were making such noise? They wanted to get rid of the crocodiles. That is why these ladies, they used to laugh, make fun and quarrel each other so that the noise affect the crocodiles and they move their way. The big mugger did not move, and all the women crossed in safety to the other bank. All the other crocodiles and the other things moved away hearing the noise of the women, except the big mugger. But the ladies passed the river, crossed the river safely. Here they had to climb a still hillside to get at the grass, but all fell to with a will and sliced away at it wherever there was foothold to be had. Now they clearing the hill, okay, clearing the slicing down the, maybe some obstacles are there on their way, so they cleared it with the sickles, and then they moved on where there was foothold, means wherever there was solid grip, they walked onto the hill to collect the grass. Down below them ran the broad river. So below the hills it was the broad river, pouring powerfully out from its deep narrow pools among the cold cliffs and shadows, spreading into warm shallows lit by kingfishers. So there are kingfishers. Kingfishers are some kind of birds, isn't it? And then it is pouring powerfully. The river is pouring powerfully out from its deep narrow pools. There are narrow pools, okay, narrow places. When it is narrow, there will be gush of water among the cold cliffs and shadows, spreading into warm shallows. Then from the narrow, then it goes to the warm shallow water lit by kingfishers. There used to be the kingfisher, the birds. Great turtles lived there, and mussel weighing more than 100 pounds. So in that riverside, in the warm shallow river, there used to be turtles, and then there used to be fish, big fishes, tiger like fishes. Mussel means tiger like fishes, which weigh more than 100 pounds. There used to be big fishes. Crocodiles too. Sometimes you could see them lying out on those slabs of clay over there, but there were none to be seen at the moment. And so these were the picture of the river when they used to cross across the river in order to collect the grass. There used to be kingfishers, turtles, mussel, and the crocodiles. Where Sibia was working, wind coming across hundreds of miles of trees cooled her sweating body, and she could look down over the river as if she were a bird. Now she is being compared to a bird. Why? Because she is being compared to the bird. The wind coming across hundreds of miles of trees cooled her sweating body. So there was wind blowing in that area, and she could look down over the river. When the wind was blowing, when she looked over the river, she could see as if she was a bird, as if she were a bird. Although she did not dare stop for a moment under her mother's eye, her imagination took her in swooping a flight over the bright water and golden air to the banks where she had played as a child. Now they are going in a group, and then she cannot miss her mother's sight. They have to go together, and then she says, although she wanted to get into the river bank where she used to play as a child, she was afraid because she had to keep pace with her mother. Her imagination took her in swooping flight over the bright water. So she started imagining herself being playing in the river bank as a child. In those cavelets above the high water mark of the highest flood, she had stored some little bowls molded of clay while they hardened. If there were anything that could be used for coloring, they would look fine, painted with marigolds and elephants. Now, as a young girl, as a small child, she used to collect the clay and make small pots and keep it for drying in the cavelets. Cavelets means a small cave where the water will not reach high. So even the high floods have not reached in that cavelets. There she used to keep the clay pots made out of clay, and she used to keep it for drying so that she could color it later on with the marigold. Marigold means a bright yellowish orange color, orange hue. And the elephants here, it's meant, I think it's a black color. Now, the poor girl was lost in her imagination. Now, who calls out? Child! Her mother calls out because she was daydreaming about coloring the clay pots that she had once upon a time kept it for drying in the cavelets. Now she was little away from her mother. Now her mother called her back. She had to come away from her daydreaming. The sharp word, the glare of her mother's angry, sweating face pulled Sibia back to work, and they toiled on. Now she was lost in her daydreaming and in her imagination of coloring the pots and all. Her mother called, and her mother's angry, sweating face, because they have to finish the work and get back to the house. So she didn't want her daughter to be living in that daydream or in that imagination. So she is back to the work again. Poor child. See, the girl of 12 who's supposed to be enjoying the life with the nature, with her toys, with her all kinds of friends. Here the girl, like a woman, had to work along with her mother and companions, and she is not even permitted to have an imagination of such luxuries of life. Sibia hung back. She would just dawdle. Dawdle means to move or act too slowly. Poor thing, she is brought back from her imagination. So you can imagine how disappointed she is. Dawdle a bit and run and see if the little clay cups were still there in the cave, waiting to be painted and used. She just wanted to run to those cavelets to see if the dried clay pots are still over there, so that she can collect it and color it. Although the women were now tired and loaded, they still talked. Those in front yelled to those behind why they were hurrying themselves, so that before the dark they should get back to the village. They crossed the river safely and disappeared up the track into the trees on the other side. Even their voices died away. Now the women and Sibia's mother also moved, but Sibia is left alone. She could not even hear the voices of the group. Silence fell everywhere. It is silence means the group has already kept past. Sibia came down alone to the stepping stone. Now she is left behind because she was thinking about the dry clay pots which she had kept in the cave. Now poor thing is left alone in the riverside. She has to move from one stone to the other. The light of evening was striking up the gorge pink into the ultraviolet shadows. Now you know how when the sun set, how the atmosphere is. The evening was striking up. The gorge means narrow valley between the hills. And there is between the hills the narrow valley. What was the color? Pink into the ultraviolet shadow. The pink color was receding, and then there was ultraviolet shadows. The sun was setting slowly. Now that the sun was off it, the water poured almost invisible among the stones. The water poured almost invisible among the stones. The presence of water was not so visible for Sibia, with no reflection to show where it began. Now only when there is sunlight the reflections will be seen. Now she is not able to differentiate between the water and the stone. She is unable to see the difference. Sibia stepped into the first stone. She was heavily weighed, her muscles stretched and aching. After a whole day's toil, she is tired, and also now the fear of being alone is also making her feel heavy-hearted. Her muscles stretched. Now it started aching. The hay ford squeaked in the packed dry grass and dug into her collarbone so close under the skin, in spite of the sari bunched up to make a pad. So the heavy weight of the paper grass along with the sickle and the hay fork started giving pain to the skin or to the shoulders of Sibia. It was so close to her collarbone. Although she had bunched her sari to make a pad so that it will not hurt her. Even then it was hurting the poor little girl. When she was halfway over, she put her load down on a big boulder. Boulder means a large stone. And then she wanted to take rest because it was aching, and leaned and breathing on the fork. So she leaned herself on the big large stone, and she took a long breath. At the same moment, a Gujar woman came down with the two guras to the water on the other side in order to get the good clear water, which would quickly fill both guras to the top without sand. She walked onto the stepping stones. Now, who came there? A Gujar woman. At the same moment, a Gujar woman came down with the two guras to the water on the other side in order to get the good clear water, which would quickly fill both guras to the top without sand. She walked on to the stepping stones. I think students, it is a long video already. From here the climax of the story comes. So we shall move on to the next day. Okay, we shall do it tomorrow. So for now, read up to here at least twice, understand the lesson, underline the new words, the new vocabulary, learn the new vocabulary, and then try to go to the reference of context in your workbook. Try to answer them. All the best. God bless you.